4-hour work week as an agency owner. Is it possible? As you can see from the title, I've been doing this for some time. To be honest, I'm not doing it anymore. And in this video, I want to tell you about how you can achieve this as well. So a lot of you watching might be aspiring agency owners or current agency owners, and you think when you see a title like this must be clickbait. It's impossible to do this. Agencies are notoriously hard to A, scale, but also B, on the founder, making sure to deliver for all the clients, making sure to attract new clients, always putting out fires, lots and lots of moving parts because there's just a lot of labor. That's all, custom, doing something different for every client. So it might seem impossible to you now, but I assure you it is possible. So in this video, I just want to talk about the 3 things basically you need to do to be able to get there. So the first thing I did to get there is standardize the offer and the deliverable. This means that you're selling the same thing to similar types of people, or at least similar types of people that have the same types of problems. So in my agency, I have a lead generation. I don't know what happened there. I think there was some kind of magic. I don't know what that is. I don't know how to turn it off. Guys, if you know how to turn that off, please let me know, because that's not what I want in my video. But basically, you want to sell to the same type of avatar. So this can be the same type of company, maybe it's only SaaS companies, or you're selling to other agencies, consultants, maybe to corporate trainers, whatever it is. But it could also be, standardizing it in terms of the type of problem you solve. So maybe you solve operations for people that have a service business, right? And then it can be a different type of service business, but they all have similar issues. So this is really important because this makes it so that you can start training staff and have them do different types of things inside of your business, but all following a similar style process to get the value delivered basically. And I think this is one of the biggest ones actually. A lot of agencies, especially more so like the traditional type agency, they offer everything under the sun. So they're doing Google ads, they're doing SEO, website design, then they're also running ads on TikTok for them. If you have all of these types of things, it's going to be really, really, really hard to standardize things and optimize things. So you either hire a bunch of staff, lose all of your margin, or you end up just running around doing everything yourself. And this is kind of the issue there, because if you're doing something different every time, you're spending a lot of time figuring things out, putting out fires, helping staff figure things out. So you don't want to figure things out every time. For clients, you want to just follow a proven process, right, that you develop, and then you work on that process and make it better over time. So that's kind of the first thing, just make sure to standardize things there. And then the second thing is building out agency OS. So I'll put up a screenshot somewhere here that shows kind of my agency OS. I also made a video on this, which I can link down in the description below. But basically, an agency OS is like an Airtable that will function as your backend. It's actually very important to do this in Airtable. Like, I haven't seen any other tool that comes close to it because it's so custom. So you make a custom backend, which is basically an Airtable, and then you have these interfaces, they call it, in the front end, where you can just kind of build your own like SaaS app for your agency. And I've never seen anything like it. Like, since I've implemented this, we've been able to service double the amount of clients with similar like stress levels, so to say. So yeah, fair enough to say that it really drove revenue and brought value to my agency, and also lots of automation. Obviously, if you've been watching the channel for a while, and if you're new here, now this is all about automation. It's like you will remove a lot of the manual work, and you'll standardize a lot of it, and then you can automate a lot of it, because if it's standard, if it's the same thing over and over again, why not let a robot do it? Or even if it's a bit custom, with AI nowadays, you can have that implemented and really increase your margins and also buy back your time that way. And then the final thing, you can't get around this with an agency. It's going to be having a great team. So you want to have a team both on the sales side of things. So you want to have an appointment setter, and you want to have a sales rep doing the work, or putting in the reps to make sure, like, if you're chilling on the beach, right, if you're doing the 4-hour work week, that still new clients are coming in. Agency model, it's not, people are not going to sign up themselves. You got to have calls with people, you got to follow up with people. So you're going to have a team in place, because you cannot get that done within those 4 hours, or at least not to a level that you can sustain like a good revenue number. So you want to have a sales team. that can, close from A to Z, so you don't need to be involved with this, right? So don't do super heavy proposals where, a lot of knowledge is required, maybe a lot of knowledge that only you have inside of the business. Make sure your rep is completely self-sufficient, and also make sure you have a different rep booking in calls for the other guy. Because what I found is that, if you have the same sales rep booking in their own calls, they will, kind of self-sabotage, because if they're going really hard on booking calls, then they just end up having more work and it's just kind of overwhelming. So split those roles up, and you've got the sales side covered, and make sure there's no like heavy proposal work, as in you making a lot of custom proposals where your input is required. Make sure to remove that and make it standard, which is comes back to point one, standardizing what you offer and what you deliver. And then finally, obviously, you need a fulfillment team as well. So it's very important that you also structure this in a way where you are not involved. So the way I did this is an account manager has his own VA, and together they function as a pod, and they can service clients completely self-sufficient. Only when problems arise, that is when me as the business owner or my co-founder I have gets involved in the whole process, because that way only basically whenever there's a problem that's big enough to escalate it upwards, that's when we hear about it. But all of the other things, if it's just going fine, we won't hear about it, and this buys back your time. And I see a lot of agency founders go wrong here. For example, I was speaking to a guy I've known for quite some time. He also runs a lead gen agency, and he says he just loves the copywriting part of it, and he doesn't want to outsource that. Well, that's obviously completely fine. If you're watching this, that's completely fine. I told you as well then. But this will be a bottleneck, in the future, because if you're going to be involved in the process, in the copywriting process, then obviously, for every new campaign that's going to be created, you're going to have to be involved, and kind of get that over the line. So you really want to make self-sufficient pods, and then only manage and help them when something goes wrong, which you obviously check with KPIs, and also it's self-reported by them, as well as you then putting your time just training them and making them better, giving feedback. That's where your time is spent, but it's not spent inside every single client's delivery, because that will be a huge bottleneck, and that will prevent you to get to that 4-hour work week. So then the final thing, is that the end goal, should you be aiming for getting to a 4-hour work week? I've done it for some time, but I was working on other projects. So, I didn't do nothing and sit by the beach. I will say no. I think you cannot expect major things to happen if you put in very minimal amount of work. I would say more realistically, it's like 2 hours a day. So maybe like the 10-hour work week. That's very sustainable, I would say, where you train your team, you check the KPIs, and maybe you figure out some new marketing channel for yourself, to get more clients. And that's kind of what you're working on, but you're not involved with the client delivery. You're not involved with, discovery calls, pitching calls, that kind of stuff. You're just overseeing the machine. I would say that takes around 10 hours a week, and you can earn multiple 5 figures a month from it. And I know it because that's what I'm doing right now. So that's basically it. So just a quick random video, how you can get that done, how you can get that 4-hour work week. And if you want my help with that, you can check out the links in the description on how I can help you. And I'll see you all in the next one.